I think that YouTube is really positioned to dominate the future of live
Dr. Lupo, now officially leaving Twitch for YouTube Gaming.
Deciding to switch over to YouTube Gaming to stream full time.
Streamers changing platforms.
Platform war is kind of coming to a head with how frustrated people have been.
Streamers have been getting fucked over on their contracts left and right because honestly, Twitch had no competition.
Twitch's contracts are on average a 1/10 of what most other contracts
I'm
will
officially streaming on YouTube Gaming instead of Twitch.
Live streaming, a style of content that has been blowing up over the past few years. The live streaming industry is now worth over $70 billion, and its growth is not slowing. By 2027, the live streaming industry is projected to be worth over $247 billion. But which platform will be the king of this exploding industry? Will it be the current champion Twitch, or a new contender like YouTube or Facebook? The best way to figure out which platform will dominate in the future is to analyze these 4 factors: functionality of platform, culture, streamers, and general statistics. Whichever platform leads when considering these 4 factors will likely become the king of the live streaming industry for the foreseeable future. Functionality of the platform is one of the most practical of these 4 main factors that will decide which of these platforms will succeed. So let's look at all the capabilities of each platform. YouTube's biggest claim to fame is the recommendation system.
YouTube has already considered the discoverability problem and consciously decided that they're going to take a different approach. What approach? They are going to try to use algorithmic learning and search.
This is opposed to Twitch's top-down sorting system. YouTube believes that if they are able to do a good job at recommending streams to people, it will benefit both the streamers and the viewers, leading to an overall better platform with more growth. YouTube cannot use the success of the video recommendation as a reference for the YouTube live recommendations though. Stream content is entirely different from video content and should not be considered in the same field. For example, if I watch XQC play GTRP, then recommendation system would most likely recommend me other GTA content. But I am not watching for the GTA. I would never watch a GTA stream if it was not one of my favorite streamers playing it. This is a big oversight of the recommendation system, because the personality of the streamer cannot be comprehended by a recommendation system. Twitch's top-heavy sorting system is not a great way for streamers to get discovered either, but it does allow for new viewers to have easy access to good content. This is because if a streamer has a large amount of views, then more often than not, the content will be good. The search engine is not the only difference between the platform's functionality though. Another huge difference between the 2 platforms is the chat. It may not seem like it's such a big deal if you don't watch live streams often, but I can assure you that many of the top streamers would not be near as successful as they are without a good chat. Ludwig describes the difference between these 2 platforms' chat perfectly.
Because the way Twitch has programmed their chat is for messages to just fly. Think of it like a water faucet. The faucet's always open, and sometimes there's too much water and it jams up, and then it flushes out, but while it's jammed up, you can still read it. YouTube chat is like a constant flood. Now, this is not as many chatters as XQC's, but it almost is harder to read. Like, they have half as many viewers, and this constant flood makes it harder to actually read a single message because you have to track it up. And that's because the way YouTube has designed it is they hold all chat messages for like 5 seconds, and then they will release it like one by one over the next 5 seconds. And so it flows very smoothly. It's almost a smarter development strategy, but a worse experience.
So just based off of design, YouTube chat is harder to read. But this is made much worse by the fact that YouTube users don't use emotes. Instead, they type whole sentences. This makes it extremely difficult for a streamer to actually understand what their chat is telling them. Another key difference between the 2 platforms' functionality is the stats available to the streamers. Twitch has a fleshed out array of statistics and graphs that allow a streamer to see when the most viewers turned in, why they tuned in, and how they tuned in. YouTube Live, on the other hand, has nothing. Streamers are not even able to access the most simple of stats.
There are no stats anywhere at all, ever, anywhere. And this is going to blow your mind, chat. I don't even have the stats on my average viewership. I don't have the stats on my peak viewership. I don't have the stats on how many hours I've streamed this month. That's crazy. It's shocking. The way I have to get these stats is I ask Jeffrey. He's in chat. He's my partner manager, and I'll ask him. I'll be like, "Yo," and he'll be like, "Oh, I have to pull it up, but I have it." And so I'll show you guys. Here it is. This is for the month of December, really, the first month. And you can see, like, boom, these are some basic stats.
One of the more interesting differences between the two platforms is the DMCA systems they have. Currently, YouTube live streams are scanned live for DMCA content and will be taken down if anything DMCA is spotted. This means that if a streamer plays DMCA music or DMCA YouTube video, their stream will be shut down. DMCA on Twitch is much different though. If a streamer wants to play DMCA music on Twitch, all a streamer needs is an audio splitter. An audio splitter is a piece of software that will route audio into the live stream, but not the VOD. This means that Twitch streamers can listen to whatever music they want and they will not be DMCA striked. On YouTube Live, even reacting to YouTube videos can result in a DMCA takedown. The difference in what streamers on different platforms can watch is due to the policy implemented by each platform. YouTube is responsible for content uploaded and streamed on its platform, but Twitch has a hands-off policy, so unless the copyright holder manually DMCAs the streamer, then no action will be taken. This difference has been made extra apparent recently, as streamers have been watching content on Twitch that YouTube streamers would never be able to react to. The last major difference between the platform's functionality is the TOS. On YouTube, people are generally allowed to be more edgy without getting banned. Twitch is a different story though. There have been streamers that have been banned for the most inconsequential things. Streamers on Twitch are not treated equally when it comes to bans either. Some streamers will get banned for the same thing again and again, and their ban duration will not increase.
There's an increased punishment. The problem that I have with some of these bans is that not only is it not a ramp up when it is the exact same offense, the exact same thing. Hey! It is the exact same offense category, which is probably nudity / sexual content, right? The same, and it's extremely in the same time frame. It's not like over 5 years. It's over months or weeks. Month. Bang, 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 bang. 5, 6, 7 minutes. And what do we get? 3 days. 3 days. What the fuck? I don't want to be banned for more. If they're going to reform the system, I want it to apply to everybody. I want the system to be fair and open for all the streamers.
So while YouTube might lag behind when considering things like the chat and DMCA, they definitely pull ahead when it comes to moderation. Culture is an aspect that is often overlooked when comparing platforms like Twitch and YouTube. Culture is the heart and soul of a platform, and without the heart, the platform is not alive. One of the many differences in the users of each platform is the money culture. The average Twitch user has a much greater chance of supporting their favorite creator than anyone on YouTube or Facebook. This is thanks to the Twitch monetary system being gamified. Viewers can support creators with functions like subs, donos, gifted subs, bits, and there are other incentives like hype trains to entice viewers into spending a little more money on the platform. The addition of free Prime subs being available to everyone with Amazon also helps support creators financially. How each platform's viewers consume content is another aspect of community. Twitch has a community of people who have been watching live content for over 10 years. This creates a culture that enjoys live content. The same cannot be said for YouTube. A vast majority of people on YouTube have no interest in live content. They prefer shorter, highly edited videos. This means that most of the audience will not be interested in tuning into the live streams either. The culture of each respective platform also ties into the chat. For the most part, YouTube chat is not fun to watch. If you go into a YouTube chat, you will most likely see people saying lol, lamau, or people typing whole sentences about stuff no one asked about. The streamers are an important factor to look at when considering the future of live streaming. They're like the chess pieces of a massive companies as they vie for dominance in the live streaming industry. What is the best way to determine the value of a streamer though? Well, a couple things need to be taken into mind. The first factor is the loyalty of the streamer's community. Most large personality streamers have strong communities that will flow into any platform. These streamers are inherently more valuable as they bring more viewers to whatever platform they swap to. The second factor is the size of the fanbase. Streamers like XQC, Aiden Ross, Hassan, and Nick Merckx have a large amount of fans that have a chance to start watching the other platform that they swap to. In the last few years, platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Mixer have been buying out Twitch streamers to stream on their platforms. This usually happens in the form of 2-year contracts with an absurd amount of money attached. Streamers that switch to other platforms almost always see a decrease in viewers and this is in stark contradiction to what many people believe about YouTube. People see the amount of users that YouTube has and just assume that this will lead to an increased viewership simply based off of how many eyes are on the platform. The reality is that a vast majority of YouTube viewers are just not interested in live content. So overall, streamers are important because they're the ones that bring in the viewership. But YouTube struggles to maintain a good roster of streamers without paying extreme amounts of money. Twitch, on the other hand, has an abundance of streamers of all sizes. So when it comes to streamers, Twitch has the upper hand. One of the most logical ways that we can determine which platform will dominate in the future is to look at the stats. When looking at live streaming as a whole, we can clearly see that the industry has made great strides recently. In Q3 of 2021 alone, there were a total of 8.21 billion hours watched, which is equivalent of you watching live streams for 1 million years straight. Twitch has been an established giant in the industry for a long time now. So how does this stack up against YouTube Live and Facebook Live when considering things like hours watched? Well, back in 2018, the popularity of Fortnite spiked the number of people watching streams. This was most notable on platforms like Twitch and YouTube. Over the years 2019 and 2020, YouTube continued to inch up on Twitch. The platform Facebook also started to expand their live streaming section, resulting in a dramatic increase in hours watched. In Q4 of 2020, YouTube Live managed to get a staggering 2 billion hours watched compared to Twitch's 5.5 billion. If trends were to continue like this, then YouTube would take over as the #1 streaming platform. This, however, is not the case. In Q3 of 2021, YouTube Live fell off hard. YouTube Live went from almost 2 billion hours watched in Q4 of 2020 to 1.1 billion hours watched in 2021. They even managed to get passed in hours watched by Facebook. Up until now, no one really considered Facebook an actual competitor in the live streaming industry. But now, with the recent surge in hours watched, they could have a serious shot at dethroning Twitch. YouTube Live's sharp decline in watch time makes you think, what happened to the platform? Did streaming just lose favor in the YouTube algorithm? Or is there another factor? No one knows for certain, but if this downward spiral continues for YouTube, they could be in serious trouble. When everything is considered, it's safe to assume that Twitch is not going anywhere anytime soon. With YouTube's random inconsistencies and Facebook's lack of reputation, there is not much that poses a threat to Twitch's supremacy in the live streaming industry.